Okay, my name's Zakashi, guys, and in this video here we got another 6th anniversary discussion. We're going to be talking about if the format for the 6th anniversary matters. Now, the format, it comes with a lot. There's a lot going around it. The units that you get, how many units you're gonna get, how many banners you're gonna get, how you're gonna spend your chrono crystals, and even the layout of the banners. There's so much that goes into the format when you really think about it, and it could actually make or break the anniversary. So we really need to talk about it. But at the same time, a lot of people might not care. The main thing is that we can't see the future, so being prepared for what the format could be could actually be a big thing. So let's talk about it. We gotta do our video chrono crystal check, so let me know in the comment section how many chrono crystals you've got right now, since we are heading towards the 6th anniversary. We've got less than a month before it starts. It starts at the end of May, so we gotta be saving towards that as we are still in the saving saga. Now that you've left a comment down below, I think it's about time for us to get straight into this video. Now, I thought about how I could produce this video, and I felt there was a lot of ways I could go about it. I could go through every single anniversary and list the pros and cons of every single part, but I feel like that would take a lot of time. It would waste a lot of you guys' time, and I feel like you just want the most efficient video while enjoying the video in the most relaxing way. So instead of doing that, I'm actually going to just list pros and cons that I've found throughout the whole Dragon Ball Legends history, from the 1st anniversary all the way to the 5th anniversary, listing pros and cons in general. Now, I'm not going to talk about specific anniversaries, but I might reference specific anniversaries in addition to the point I'm trying to make, so I'm using them as evidence. But besides from that, we're really just going to talk in a general scope, and I think most of the points that I make you guys will agree with. But if you do disagree with anything, or you have any points of your own, definitely be sure to let me know in the comment section below. Now, the first part I want to talk about is having one banner in part 1 versus 2 banners in part 1. I feel having 2 banners is way more effective for the player than having 1 banner, and let me explain why. When you have 2 banners in part 1, you're more likely to spend your chrono crystals in a way that's way more beneficial to you, and you're less likely to get robbed outside of RNG. I believe this because in part 1, most people have been saving their chrono crystals towards part 1. They've been saving their chrono crystals towards the anniversary, the beginning of it. If they dropped only 1 banner in the beginning of part 1, most people would just dump their chrono crystals into that 1 banner because there's no choice available. You only have whatever they dropped on that 1 banner, so most times people are going to spend all their chrono crystals on that. But then imagine right after that they give you 2 more banners to choose from in part 2. You've already spent your bulk, so how are you going to get more chrono crystals for part 2 when there's even more banners? Not just 1 banner, 2 now. So it gets a lot more difficult. As you can see, you'd either have to grind out everything in the game and you'd still be able to only get a minimum, or you'd have to spend money real life. And that's pretty much a strategic point for the devs, I'll be honest, give it to them. But then if they dropped 2 banners for part 1, you still have your bulk, so you can more appropriately allocate your chrono crystals to each banner, or you can choose one over the other, and you wouldn't get shafted outside of the RNG point. Of course, RNG is still an arsehole, so at the end of the day, if you get shafted, it is what it is, you were just unlucky. But having the choice feels a lot better in my opinion. I'll also add to that point that because there's more banners off rip, the start of the anniversary can make or break the hype for everybody. So if they drop just 1 banner and people don't like it, it's really bad. But if they drop 2 banners, some people might like one or the other, so the choice makes people a lot more satisfied. On top of that, when it comes to being overwhelmed over underwhelmed, I think most people, when it comes to games like a gacha where there's very minimal content in a lot of times, people would prefer to be overwhelmed. People want more content, people want things to be able to do. If you can continuously play the game for a longer amount of time and it's actually enjoyable because there's a lot to do, I think people would be happier than if there was literally nothing to do. Naturally, obviously context applies. In some cases, being overwhelmed wouldn't be good. But when it comes to the anniversary where people have been saving towards, people come back to the game, a lot of people join the game puts out a lot more advertisements, the game has to be super hype. So having 2 banners to start it off, I think really sets the standard for the anniversary and will begin at a peak. You want to do that, and then you want to sort of maintain it. You don't want to fall off. But of course, you could argue that if it starts off bad because of 1 banner, it would be even worse if it starts off bad if there's 2 banners. But how likely is that, if we're being honest? So yeah, that's my first pro, for the fact that if the anniversary had 2 banners, it would be a lot more beneficial than if it had 1 banner starting off in part 1. Examples I want to give: the 1st anniversary, they had 2 banners, Super Vegeta on each, and there was 2 Sparkings on each side, which is obviously dope. In the 2nd anniversary, Vegeta Blue was on both sides. In the 3rd anniversary, we had G4 and CMZ in part 1. The 4th anniversary, I believe, is the only anniversary that had 1 banner and only 1 character, which completely sucks, but I'll talk about that in a bit. And then in the 5th anniversary, even though it was 1 banner, they gave you a lot of options on it, but still following that after with 2 banners, I think that's kind of snarky, especially when it's something as hype as Superhero when they dropped Gamma 1 and 2 and Orange Piccolo. Another pro that I like with the format is that they give you a lot of options on the banner that they start with for part 1. Now this might kind of counter the first point that I gave, but it could also mix in depending on how they do it. So I mentioned for the first point that having 2 banners for part 1 would obviously be better than having 1 banner for part 1 for the reasons that I listed. But this could be a con if you also want a lot of characters. So if they drop 2 banners for part 1, they should drop 2 sparkings as well. They have done that before, for example, the 3rd anniversary. At least 2 sparkings. If they drop 3 sparkings that are not Legends Limited on 2 banners, that would be insane, but I think that's too much to expect. So 2 sparkings like they done in the 3rd anniversary, and if all the units are good, you get a lot of choice. But when they drop 1 banner, so there's one Legend Limited, they can sometimes drop 3 sparkings. But regardless, I think the idea is that you're able to build a team off of the units they drop off of those banners. So let's say 1 banner is movies, 1 banner is future, for example. They should drop a good Legends Limited future unit and 2 sparkings that can easily make the meta, easily change the game, or make future's main team. That's what you're looking for. And with the same thing with movies, the main unit should make the main team, the Legend Limited, and then the 2 sparkings be of value. Having that choice and being able to build a whole team off of 1 banner is really a big factor to getting people into the game and staying with the game, because they already have good pieces just off beginning the game. A lot of people join at random times in the year. For example, some people just joined at the start of April. You only have these ultra reruns, and just 1 ultra is not going to carry you throughout the whole game. So in part 1, or any part to be honest, if you're able to build a whole team off of 1 banner, so in most cases part 3 that's impossible, but part 1 and 2, that would really be beneficial to a lot of people that have been getting shafted at various points in the year, assuming of course they don't get shafted. But if they don't get shafted, they're able to build 1 team straight away and have 3 units at least where they're able to just prevail in PvP or any other events they want to do. I'd say that's another pro if they're able to do that in any anniversary. I think 3 is a sweet spot, so this is the last pro I'm going to mention, but I think ending the anniversary with the biggest thing is always good. So previously, before Ultras came out, they wouldn't have the Ultras, so they'd start with their biggest item. Most cases, that would be the Legend Limited that's revealed for part 1. Super Vegito, Vegito Blue, G4 CMZ, but maybe you might want to argue Revhan, but I really don't think Revhan alone is topping 2 Legend Limited. Again, it's a Gohan, so to each their own. The 4th anniversary, they begin bringing Ultras in, and maybe you might want to argue that MUI was more hype than Ultra Super Vegito, but that's to each their own. And then the 5th anniversary, of course, we saw how hype it was when they revealed Ultra Vegito Blue. It was the highlight of the anniversary. No matter how you look at it, there's literally no debate. When they use examples like the 5th anniversary where they end the anniversary with a bang, I think that's as good as starting it with a bang as well. If the ending can be more hype than the beginning, you did a really good job, because the beginning is still going to be super hype. It's like having a 9.9 and then you somehow produce a 10 out of 10. That is crazy. So if they're able to end the anniversary with a big unit, the format necessarily doesn't really matter, because they're going to drop an ultra in most cases. So if they drop that ultra and it's a super good ultra, then the anniversary just overall looks super amazing. It started good, the middle could have maintained it, but the ending was just amazing. I think if they can do something like that, that would obviously end off the hype of the anniversary at a high rather than a low, and everybody leaves satisfied. Now it's time to get into some cons. The cons here, they're actually kind of snarky, I'm not going to lie, so we gotta talk about these seriously. Now the biggest con, and I wish they never do this ever again, 4th anniversary part 1. They sell us with a super hype Legends Limited, but then they drop 1 sparking. What? That is so greedy. That is so greedy. You get this good Legend Limited, fair enough, but 1 sparking? You was developing the anniversary for the whole year just to drop 1 sparking. Who decided that? Who thought that would be a good idea? If you ever drop 1 sparking on 1 Legend Limited banner, the only way I would accept that in any universe, if there's 2 Legend Limiteds, but 1 sparking? Come on, man, you're cutting it cheap. You're being too greedy. Just share some of the units that you've got in your locker. Come on, man, that's crazy. The 4th anniversary, they got us with the MUI intentional leaks, and I'm calling it intentional. The devs knew what they were doing, but then to just drop that bum ass Vegeta, man, everybody knows that Vegeta sucks. Don't ever do that again. That would be the worst format ever. And because there's no option as well, people are dumping their Chrono Crystals into that trash banner. Don't do that, man. Fix up, drop multiple sparkings, at least 2, and 1 Legend Limited, at least. If then, I would prefer still 2 banners, but of course, at least drop 2 side sparking so I can at least build a team of 3, man. It's a 3v3 game and you're dropping 1 sparking? Greedy. That's too greedy, man. That's greedy. For this point, I'm not really gonna talk about anything they've done before, but I think with the addition of Legends Originals, I'm sure you guys know Bardock and Goku's banner. That banner is going to suck if they do that continuously for every Legends Original. It's actually worse than Ultra banners. And then Ultra banners are already bad. So if they're gonna give us a part 3 with just an Ultra banner, that already sucks. But then if they're gonna give us a part 2 with just a Legends Original banner, boy, that's going to be pain. So then part 2, no matter what the unit is, even if it's dope, the banner is sucking. So it's gonna feel mid until we get to part 3, where we have to pretty much struggle even more on another trash banner, which will be an Ultra banner. That's a lot of stress to go through, if we're being honest, and a lot of people are gonna get shafted. Nobody wants to go through that. So the banner format as well, with the banners they decide to release, sucks. Let's also point out the fact that Legends Original banners, they're Legend Limited with 0 sparkings. 0. I'm gonna be there looking like Nico from Blue Lock. 0. That is wild, man. Don't do that. That's greedy as well. Release your units. Release them. Now, the last con, I could have talked about this in the pros as well, but I think it's a bigger point to bring up in the cons, is the rates of the banners and the Z power drops. Now, at this point in the game, if we get anything less than 2 times Z power, they're scamming us, objectively. They've continuously done 2 times Z power throughout the whole year on every single new banner. So if they do that, you know they're scamming us. So at the minimum, 2 times Z power, maybe 3. They might even put a random number, I don't know, 2.5, I don't know. But cool, at least 2.5 Z power. If it's less than that, any banner with less than that, so like in the past, we're getting cooked. You know what I'm saying? But cool. The rates as well, it's gotta be the 2 times rates, at least. It's gotta be the 20% rates, at least. Personally, I think they should up it to 30. If it's not though, they know what they're doing. They've been doing it all year, and if for this hypest point of the year, they know everybody's going to be playing regardless, they lower the rates when we've been getting every single banner at a certain rate and Z power. That's a disrespect. Again, that's greedy. Just let us get what we need, man. It's the least they could do, I think, for us playing the whole year. 100 million users. Come on, man. At least drop the 30%. Drop the 3 times Z power. Just free it up. You've done it before. Toshi, bring it back. I know you said you wasn't going to do it a lot or often, but come on, bruh. Come on, bruh. 100 million users. Come on, bruh. Free it up, man. Don't cut us cheap like that. Now, I think to end the video, I'm going to give you my dream format for the 6th anniversary. This is my personal dream format. Some of you guys might disagree, but let me know what you guys think. So for the part 1, I'd like for there to be 2 banners. 2 Legend Limiteds with at least 1 sparking. If there's no sparking on each side, that's a disrespect. It has to be at least 1 sparking. 2 would be ideal, but 1 is fine. 2 would be pushing overwhelming, I'll be honest, but 1 is fine. Whatever the units are, they just have to be good enough to build a team. If there's 1 Legend Limited on each side, they need to be different tags. Not necessarily different sagas, but different tags, so that there's a lot more variety in the game. And then the side sparking should also be slightly different tags, so there's a lot more variety in the game. But the unit should be kind of relevant and at the same time be usable. The kits are more important than anything. For this video though, we are talking mainly about the format. So again, 1 Legend Limited on each side, or at least 1 sparking on each side, and they should be different so that it works for the game's variety. Part 2, it can be 1 Legends Original, but I think they should low-key add 1 Legends Original sparking. I think low-key they should, because if this is going to be a new tag that's filling up the game and it's going to be high value, they should actually add some low-level versions of it. And I know that could reduce the stock of the Legends Original. It's meant to be something rare, of course, but if we look at Ultras now, we've got what, 16, maybe more than that. Eventually it's going to get saturated, so at least make the team good from the jump, so people aren't just summoning for nothing. If the unit from the Legends Original Saga doesn't fit any of the good teams in the game, then the unit's going to suck regardless. For example, just dropping a Vegeta clan unit in a random point, it's really just putting a good unit in the middle of the desert. It doesn't have anything to use, nothing to form. It's going to dry up, which is unfortunately the reality of the game. So if they dropped 1 sparking on a Legends Original banner, I think that would be good, but they don't have to, of course. At the bare minimum, maybe just fix the format and I think I'll be fine. But if not a Legends Original, then they should just drop 1 Legend Limited and maybe put multiple sparkings on that banner as well, so 2 or 3, so that people can also build a team off that 1 banner. And then in the end, I think it can just be 1 Ultra, but if they want to do 2 Ultras, I think that's also fine. It's really down to the developers at that point, but for me, I'll be satisfied with just 1 Ultra, that like they've been doing. 2 Ultras would really be overkill, and if they do 2 Ultras, they need to have pities. If there's no pity system on the Ultra banners, then we are cooked. That's going to be bad. bad. But if there is pity and they do 2 ultras, I'll be completely fine with it. If they do 1 ultra and there's no pity, it's still bad, but I would settle for it because it's what they've done already, so I can't really complain. But yeah, man, that's going to be the end of the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, man. Let me know what you guys thought about my thoughts in this video. I tried to get the best thoughts out and pretty much everything that made sense to me, but of course you guys might have things that you think yourself. If you haven't already, make sure to press that subscribe button, man. We are on this grind to 100,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching the video, man. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.